Hey guys, so I'm back with the version 0.9 of these clip-on prop adapters, and this is the latest edition right here that Read It Again and Again has uploaded. And I wanted to point out a few changes. So here's the previous version. I had to bag them up because they all look exactly the same, printed in black. So I've got the first version here, second version, third version, and this is the latest. And I wanted to point out a few of the changes that Read It Again and Again has made. He's revised. So originally, let's see where it is. Originally, you can see here there was a little gasket that would fit inside the outer layer, and this is a really cool design, and it would technically, in an ideal world, seal really well and work really well. This is what flew for me, but I couldn't get it to seat all the way with that design. And so what he's done is he's taken that out altogether. You can see here it's just a flush fit on the bottom, and there's a slightly recessed circle on the top, which will just, I think that'll just help to push the propeller down and keep it in place well. He's also revised the size of the bolt hole. You can see here I have my standard 5M bolt, and that it doesn't fit very well down there. It's a little bit loose. In fact, it could actually turn independently of the bolt if you put a little bit of pressure on it. And what he's done on the newer version, you can see here, it fits perfectly, which means that I should be able to set this on here, get it lined up correctly, and just screw it on like this, I believe. You can just thread it on, actually. Make sure that you get it lined correctly, because it will try to make some thread marks into the 3D printed part. You can basically just spin it on, so I'm going to fast forward this part. Alright guys, so I'm back with what is now version 0.9 of these clip-on prop adapters. And I've come to my favorite flying spot over here so that I can do a little bit faster flying, because I think these are going to be used in the racing community. I think that's the goal audience, and so the speed that they can endure is a pretty critical thing. What I think is going to be the main problem here is the movement that these propellers have. You can see here that the propeller isn't completely tight in its enclosure, and it can actually kind of wiggle around, move up and down a little bit. And that might change the pitch of the propeller, and it might cause some vibration issues. So I guess this is going to be a speed test. I don't know if you can tell, but there's little droplets of water accumulating everywhere because it's been terrible weather for flying here the last 2 days. But I've got my taped up water quad here, so it should be fine. So I'm going to plug it in and see how it goes. These are the propeller clip-on adapters that Reddit user Read It Again and Again has been working on. And I'm really not used to this quad on these little 5-inch propellers. So you can see here I'm hovering at more than half throttle, which I'm not used to at all. So there I saw a little bit of weird action. I can hear a ton of vibration. See, normally I would think that this was caused by like the sound that I'm hearing. I'd think it would be loose prop nuts or something, or the loose bolts underneath the motors. But I think this is just caused by those propellers being loose. So really, it flies all right. Sounds vicious, sounds pretty bad actually, but it seems to, like, geez, I guess they're stronger than they sound. Alright, so we got our first crash test on our hands. I'd been kind of wanting to crash to see what happens. So, 3 props are fine. This is going to be interesting. The 4th prop is fine. And here's the clip over here. So that was, I actually was pretty sloppy with that crash, and I did not cut the throttle very well. But it looks like we'll be able to this is a good example of how the clip goes on. Clip that back in, line it up, let me see what we're at. About finished with flying, but let's see if that affected anything. Bent this prop up quite a bit, just so you guys can see there. Straighten that out a little bit. These props are absolutely hashed. Bent that one quite a bit too. Straighten that out. Bent props never stopped me. You can certainly hear that prop is weirder now. It's this prop here that's making the weird sound. That is not how your quad should sound, but I do feel like throwing some tape on this would fix a lot of the issues. We all good. Really slow, actually. It's quite disappointing. You expect it to sound like a rocket ship when it flies by, but it really doesn't sound like any rocket ship.